Hey everybody, how's it going? So a lot of you have been pointing to this Toyota article, and I thought I would go through it with you and give you my thoughts. This is where the key fob is not going to work properly unless you give them money each month. So it says here, Toyota made its key fob remote start into a subscription service. Subscription-based features are taking over the automotive industry, and now they're coming for your key fob. Now, the first question that I had when reading this is this contacting Toyota's servers in order to start your car? So for instance, Tesla will have certain remote features that you have. Your application will connect to a Tesla server, and then the Tesla server will connect to your car, where there's some argument to be made that their resources are being utilized in some way, but that does not seem to be the case here. This is literally the part of your car, the key fob, which you paid for, communicating directly with the car, which you paid for, and they're telling you you need to give them money every month so that the two things that you paid for already will continue to work. So it says, yes, it appears the pay-to-play ethos that's been spreading around the industry has reached the world's largest automaker. A Toyota spokesperson confirmed to The Drive that if a 2018 or later Toyota is equipped with Toyota's Remote Connect functions, the vehicle must be enrolled in a valid subscription in order for the key fob to start the car remotely. To be clear, what we're talking about is a proximity-based RF remote start system where you press a button on the fob to start the car while within a certain distance. Say from your front door to warm up your vehicle in the driveway on a cold morning before you get in, your fob uses radio waves to communicate with the car, and no connection back to Toyota servers is needed. No connection to their servers. But the function will not work without a larger Remote Connect subscription. And this is where this starts to become a problem. Again, I'm not saying I'd be a fan of it, but if they had some sort of feature where you are connecting to their servers and then the server connects to your car, so you could be 20 miles away from your car and still turn the AC on or the heat on remotely for someone else that's about to walk into your vehicle, I can kind of understand them charging a fee for that. This is the remote that you paid for communicating directly with the car that you paid for. This is all stuff that you paid for when you bought the vehicle. And I'm honestly happy that this is happening with Toyota and not just, other companies, because what it's going to do is it's going to wake up consumers to this whole concept of you not owning anything, of everything being a subscription service, of everything being a lease, of everything you buy not being repairable, but rather requiring that you go back to the manufacturer to buy a new one or use their overpriced services. Toyota's a company that a lot of people respect for a lot of reasons. They make, budget automobiles that normal, average, everyday people can afford that last a really long time. There's that meme that I'll see in my comments where someone says, my 1997 Camry has 400,000 miles on it. It means it's, 47% of the way through its lifespan. I'll read stuff like that all the time. People take pride in that car manufacturer, and they'll point to what other car manufacturers do, like Tesla and everybody else, and say, I'm only sticking with Toyota because I know they're not going to do that shit. So when Toyota starts slowly putting the tip in, slowly putting the tip in with that type of stuff, it's going to start waking up your normie, average, everyday consumer to the fact that this is not just one company, two companies, one industry, one group, one side of the political aisle, but rather every company in every country starting to stick the tip in on the very concept of ownership. And when a company like Toyota does that, it is going to reinforce to people that this is not just one company doing it, which is why I'm actually happy that it's happening with a company like Toyota and not a more hated company like Tesla. It's become more common in recent years for automakers to charge for apps that allow drivers to monitor, lock, or start their cars with their smartphones. As far as we can tell you, though, Toyota is the first company to charge for full use of your physical key fob, either $8 a month or $80 a year at the Remote Connect plan's current price. By the way, you got to admit, they give you 2 months free if you pay annually, that's so kind of them. When buying a new Toyota, buyers have the option to trial Toyota's connected services. These can include features like emergency assistance, hotspot connectivity, and app-based services like remote vehicle unlocking and starting. The length of Toyota's trial depends on the vehicle in question, as well as the audio package included in the vehicle. So whether or not you're going to be able to unlock and lock your car remotely utilizing a remote that you paid for, how long you get to do that is going to depend on the audio package you purchased when you bought the vehicle. Are you fucking memeing? For example, vehicles equipped with Audio Plus get a trial of up to 3 years, whereas Premium Audio may have a trial for up to 10 years. Beyond that, the drivers will need to pay for a subscription to continue using the key fob's remote start. Wow. This is... imagine you buy a house and the ability to, I don't even know where to go with this. When you get the water heater that has a better heating capacity or something so that you can take a hot shower for longer. If you get that, you get a free trial of the ability to adjust how cold your freezer and refrigerator gets. It's plausible that a vehicle will change hands during that 10-year trial period, leading to the remote start function deactivating after someone purchases the vehicle used. But it's just as plausible that the original owner will have to pay up. Who cares if you get a trial, if you get the Audio Plus? Why do I have to pay for a better audio package to be able to use the fucking remote that I paid for? Like, I don't give a shit about how long I own the vehicle. I don't give a shit about it's only $80. I don't give a shit about, oh, you get 3 or 5 or 10 years if you buy the thing. Why do I have to pay for an audio package in order for the remote that I already paid for to work? And if we're talking about a trial of a service where the remote is going to talk to a server, I'm paying for an LTE connection within the remote, I'm paying for the use of their server, I'm paying for some LTE connection in my car, whatever, fine, I get that. We're talking about the remote directly talking to the car. What's even more unknown is how technology might affect something like this in the future. For example, cellular providers in the US have earmarked the ends of the 3G cellular network, a technology that many vehicles rely on today in order to call home to the mothership, so to speak. We've got a whole explainer on that available here, but the long and short of it is that the situation is particularly dire for Toyota owners. While some other manufacturers are retrofitting vehicles to be compatible with newer LTE networks, Toyota is discontinuing connected services support for the affected vehicles, all of which are modeled year 2019 or earlier. Can you imagine how screwed up that is if you have a 2018 model car that you bought with a certain feature and in 2021 it no longer has support for that feature when it's 3 years old? A Toyota spokesperson confirmed to The Drive that it has no plans to offer an upgrade, paid or otherwise, to vehicles affected by the 3G shutdown. So there is no offer for them to put an LTE radio in, even if they say, $1,000, $2,000, $5,000. It's literally just nothing. It's just I know you bought the car 3 years ago, but perhaps not coincidentally, the automaker also announced that it has enhanced vehicles built before November 12, 2018 to no longer require subscription for the key fob's remote start feature to function. It's pretty clear that consumers aren't exactly rooting for subscription services in the auto industry. Toyota's example feels a bit egregious. It would be different if the key required a separate cellular connection or paired with the owner's phone via Bluetooth and utilized the app's baked-in connectivity, but this is a physical key fob that needs to communicate directly with the vehicle via radio frequency. No remote connection back to Toyota needed. Why do we require a subscription? The reason you require a subscription is so that they can make more money. It's that simple. And the reason that I'm happy that Toyota is doing this is because they are seen as one of the friendlier companies when it comes to repair in the automotive industry. Most people are not aware that, when it came to question 1 in Massachusetts, that they went out of their way to spend over $4 million on advertisements that would convince people that if right to repair passed, they get raped in a parking lot. But admittedly, this is not something that your average person is going to care about because it does not affect their everyday life. This is just lobbying behind closed doors. So again, we can see over here, Toyota, they spend $4.5 million, and they were only one-upped by General Motors, an American company that, God forbid, you be able to choose who works on your car. The world might end. Most people are not aware of this. So most people think Tesla is really the only brand that's fighting against the concept of ownership or right to repair. And the problem with that thinking is that if people think it's only one company, they'll believe that they can get away from it's not an industry-wide issue. They can just get away from it by just buying from another company. But once people start to recognize that this is encroaching on every company, in every industry, in every way, then there'll start to be some more serious and organized pushback against it in a manner you're not going to see if it's just one company. If it's one company, it becomes a culture war. If it's every company or the companies that for 40 or 50 years were known as companies that make long-lasting devices that are devices you buy if you're proud of the concept of ownership, proud of the concept of repair, it really then becomes less of a culture war issue and more of a what the hell are you guys all doing issue. I think this is going to wake up a lot of normal people. And I'm honestly happy that they chose to do this because them choosing to do this, rather than it just being at Mercedes, BMW, which are high-end companies, or Tesla, which is a meme company, or Audi, which is a high-end company, it being done by a company that markets cars that, in the $20,000 range, people can regularly find used for like $2,000 to $6,000 in good condition that everybody drives. This is going to get it home to a lot of normal people. And I actually think that's a good thing. I'm actually rooting for the fact that Toyota is doing this. I'm dead serious because it's one of those things where again, there are going to be other budget car companies that are still going to make cars that don't do this, but because it's happening with a company that has a great track record when it comes to just a lot of pride in ownership and repairability, it's going to wake up a lot of normal people that otherwise wouldn't have been. I'll see you all later. Oh man, that's sad.